Very warm welcome to one and all who are joining me live on the Facebook page of News9. I'm Neha. Now, whatever is happening between India and China is not completely unfathomable. The Chinese aggression was on expected lines. But what caught everyone's attention, and as most of you are aware of the fact that for the first time in 45 years, an incident of firing was reported from the line of actual control, which clearly shows China's belligerence. In a fresh update amid the rising tensions at the line of actual control between India and China, Irked China has started deploying battalions of soldiers near the LAC. Several attempts made by China of trying to intrude into our territory have been foiled by Indian troops. The Indian troops had thwarted an incursion of PLA into Mukri area of Chusul on the 7th of September. Various reports also suggested earlier on the 1st of September, China had also deployed a battalion of PLA ground force near Rekin La at LAC, which Indian Army had already captured on the 29th to 30th of August, and also deployed 2 battalions near the Spangur Lake. So China has also deployed 2 motorized divisions in Ladakh. Besides this, there are also many other nitty-gritty attached to it as well. Now, to explain those, joining me live is Air Marshal B.K. Murli. Thank you very much and a very good afternoon to you, B.K. Murli. I hope that you're doing perfectly well. All right, Air Marshal. Now, first question to you is, China has started deploying battalions of soldiers near the line of actual control. The Indian Army has also deployed its tanks and armored vehicles. One thing is certain, that talks have not yielded any positive results. So, what next?
Neha, good afternoon. Yes, the talks have not yielded any results at all. In fact, the Chinese have been playing for time for quite some time, and then 5 rounds of talks at the commander level have actually been a waste. And so are the brigadier level talks. Every time there is, they actually come face to face on a negotiating table. It is just hurling accusations at each other, and nothing much has happened really on the ground. But while the talks are taking place on one side, the Chinese are pushing their battalions, motorized divisions, and they have actually fortifying their positions. The Western Theatre Command has taken control of this entire area. And then we know very well that should there be a confrontation, it will be through the Rachinla and the Razangla area, which also saw a lot of action in 1962. In fact, it is common knowledge that there are more than 10 to 12 gaps in that area in the southern bank of Pangong Lake, through which the Chinese can push in their troops, and it is possible to actually do preemptive attack on the Indian troops. But then we are not left far behind either. We have mirrored them in the sense that we have actually positioned our troops exactly facing them, and then today we have occupied the vantage points right from Mukpari Heights right up to the Gurung Hills. The black top and the helmet also, and all along we have placed our Vikas battalions that overlooks the Chinese positions actually down below. Yes, today we are definitely in a dominating positions, but all said and done, today as of this moment, we are face to face with the enemy.
All right. So, Air Marshal, on one side, the Chinese are building troops, and on the other side, they're also giving an impression as if they want disengagement at the earliest. How can both go hand in hand? And, you and I have been long discussing that China really cannot be trusted.
Yes, like you said, the talks and the deployment of troops, and then battle-ready troops cannot go hand in hand. But then the Chinese are known to do that. On one hand, they profess talks and then disengagement and then peace and tranquility, and the very next moment they break all those treaties and then the agreements, and then the People's Liberation Army, they do what they it pleases them. But then we are all aware of the fact that People's Liberation Army actually takes the orders from the Chinese Communist Party headed by Jinping. So it is directly from the boss man that comes the orders to the PLA, and they are doing accordingly.
But Air Marshal, I'm
Chinese.
sorry to interrupt. What's really forcing us to continue to indulge in talks with China, knowing that they're not, the talks are really not taking the matter to anywhere? Why are we still indulging in talks?
Actually, we should not be indulging in talks. We should call off the talks. Yes, this is the majority opinion in the nation. Yeah, the enemy is at the gates. There is no point, in talking about deep talks and then engagement and such things. Whatever that had to take place in terms of talks, and then the treaties have already
And
taken
especially
place.
knowing that China has absolutely no respect for the military level talks at all. Knowing that when the talks are going on, they're trying to intrude.
Absolutely right. Absolutely right. You are absolutely right in making that point. They have scant regard for the military talks. They have also scant regard for the political level talks as well. In fact, immediately after the meeting between the two defense ministers, a statement comes out from the Chinese side saying that India is entirely responsible for what has happened in the south of Pangong Lake, and then we can expect a similar thing tomorrow also when the two foreign ministers meet. We know very well that China has no respect. It is time we called off the talks and then tell them where they get off. In fact, we should stand up to them and say, all right, this is it. We are giving you 15 days. Please move back to your positions of April 2020 and maintain status quo ante, or be ready for all the consequences. In fact, there is one point I must make today, that south of Pangong Lake and the Galwan area has become some kind of a volatile area. It is it is some kind of a powder keg, and then only the fuse needs to be lit, and Chinese are doing everything within their capability to light the fuse. It is just a matter of time before the fuse is lit, and it will lead to a confrontation.
They must be testing our patience, Air Marshal.
Yes, they are testing our patience, and there is a reason behind it. They want to convey the message to the their own citizens and also to the international community in general, saying that look, we are actually a peace-loving country. We want India to come to the negotiating table and listen to what we are saying, but India is playing a hardball, and then we are now left with no option but to enforce a military confrontation on them, just to make them understand. This is the kind of narrative that is building up in China. Even though a large majority in that country, they do not want a confrontation with India whatsoever. But then the Chinese Communist Party are sending a message to save their own skins, and this is the kind of a narrative that is being built up.
Right.
We should actually now we should stop all this talks, give them a specific period of time, and say, all right, within this period you do whatever that is possible, or else no, will have been left with no option but to safeguard our sovereignty.
Right.
In
so
fact,
about
today,
that, Air Marshal, about that, if we have to draw a comparison of what happened with China in 1962, skirmishes continued in the first half, but China waging a war against India wasn't on expected lines. Not to speculate anything, that's not our job, but what does the current situation predict? Does it predict a war?
No, actually, it is positively predicting limited confrontation. That is a localized confrontation, or what is referred to as the calibrated military response in military parlance. Yes, it is leading towards it. But then, Neha, there is a very big catch. So all this will need to be done before the winter sets in. They are also aware, and we are also aware. That is the reason, they are trying to build up the troops, particularly in the Rechinla area, and also near the Gomphari heights, and they are actually trying to flex their muscles and give a message saying that, look, we are fully ready for the war. If you are if you are going to force a war on war, then we are ready. But then they think that it is possible to bring the country India to the negotiating table and then may force us to accept all their conditions and say, all right, all this area belongs to us, then give it to us, and that's the end of the story. We can all go home.
Right.
But then that is not going to happen, and then it is just a fuse that is waiting to be lit, and it is just a matter of time, in our opinion, at least in the opinion of the military veterans.
Right. Thank you so much, Air Marshal, for joining me, and thank you so very much for joining me on the Facebook page of News 9. I hope you're keeping well. Do take care of yourself.